All right, then welcome everybody to Essential Marketing Dashboards. Today, we are going to define what are the real relevant metrics that you should be tracking to make your marketing life easier. It's not just for the fun of it, even though I'm as I said, irrationally passionate about the data-driven way. It just helped me survive, let my startup survive. I was able to see, oh, I wrote an article once every Monday for an app called CSGO Skills. And over 6 months, we had over 1,000 visitors per day, just from this simple activity of writing one article per week. SEO is really tough, but for this business, it was incredibly easy. I wouldn't have found that if I didn't have a regular eye on my analytics. And I was very positively surprised. And this happens all around, which channels are performing, which ad campaigns are performing really well, which emails are doing what. And it just helps me waste less time. And I hope that is something that you all can be excited about as well. In order to get us started, I brought something from 2017, back when pirateskills still looked like this. Can you guys see this treasure map? This old school thing, or am I not sharing my screen and I have messed up the whole time? No, Sheila is clapping and I'm glad to hear it. So this is the first iteration of the growth marketing treasure map. It's based on the R metrics model from Dave McClure, where you have acquisition at the top, getting new customers in, getting them to be even aware of your project, and then getting them to your website. And then activation is getting them to do the first step. It might be to sign up for a newsletter, to create an account, to start a free trial, to buy something small, or engage with a lead magnet. And that depends a little bit on your business model. What is activation? And then we have retention. And that means helping people to stick around, to enjoy this. For example, Isa, when did you learn about pirateskills? Is it a year ago?
No, it's 6 months ago.
And since then, you are pretty sticky customer. Yeah, and you returned, and that is a sign of having a decent a product or value to offer. If people just leave again, which is completely normal in the B2C and B2B space, but extremely in the B2C case, then you just acquire all those customers, activate them just for them to leave you. And especially if you're in a subscription model, this is the name of the game, but the hardest part. And then you would like those people who are that you do retain, you want them to refer more people to you, and you want them to spend some money on the journey, and you want that money to be more than everything above has cost you. So this model, well, as I said, was introduced by Dave McClure some time ago, but it has it's a very good baseline to start asking yourself, what should I be tracking? At least for yourself, check those phases. What are the most important KPIs in acquisition? How do I activate people? How do I keep them around? How do I track how much money they spend? Referral stuff is pretty hard to track. So I don't know if you notice the resemblance of Middle Earth on this map, but I always imagine being this Mount Doom, getting people to convert and spend money as the final challenge. And I had this vision of having a tower on this map here on the left-hand side that can look over all of the lands, so you can see where do people get stuck. And this is this idea of where do people get stuck? Where is the bottleneck in the customer journey? That is the core idea behind most of my growth marketing strategy. And it relates very much to everything we do in tracking. And what we want to do is to develop something like an idealized dashboard, for you, where you say, okay, these are the metrics we are tracking. And I've created one for you that you get to copy this whole Miro board. I also have a Google sheet to share with you that you can use, and a Looker Studio template. Yeah. So at the end of this little roundtable, I'll introduce you to the new Pirate Skills community, like Sailor Circle. And this is where you can grab all of this good stuff. But at the end, I really want you to be clear on these are important metrics for me, and you have a chance to ask your questions like, hey, how does this apply to me? But we don't do any kinds of sales. How does that look like? Please use the chance to interact here in the roundtable. It's not just a talk from me, even though I usually tend to give the first 30 minutes of input. All right, so that's the goal for today. So let's grab a little bit of context. Some of you might be familiar with the core 6 topics of Pirate Skills. So why is having this essential marketing dashboard such a key thing? We have 6 topics, and we usually start here at the top with the growth roadmap. The growth roadmap symbolizes your strategy. You want to go somewhere. Can you guys tell me in the chat what kind of a business model you have? B2B, B2C, or SaaS, e-commerce, mobile app, university, recruiting. So Arman is doing B2C magic. Maybe Arman can share his tracking table. Depends on how good the numbers are today. Florian is B2B. He's a B2C, B2C, mobile app, B2C. Yeah. So so it's 50-50. Yeah, with you might have the idea that we want to cut customer acquisition costs in half. Yeah, you are investing your time or money, and you want to get more out of that time and money, and that is your strategy for the next 3 weeks, 3 months. So then you create great content to communicate your message better, build a better funnel. But at the end, you'll need to be able to measure, am I actually cutting my customer acquisition costs in half? And what are the factors that really help me do it? Is it a tweak in my campaign? Was it an A/B test that I've been running? Or was it just a wording and maybe a design change that I had on my platform that cut the cost per acquisition in half? And this is where this analytics field comes into play. And one important concept we have there is what's called the North Star metric. Yeah, the one metric you're unwilling to compromise on. Yeah, you might have your complete metric dashboard up here, but you're saying like, this one, I need to create 10 demos a week. I don't care what happens as long as I can have 10 demo calls a week, I'm Gucci. And then this is your North Star metric. So I hope that gives you enough context, and we can dive into the metrics dashboard. But maybe beforehand, what do you think, what is at the moment your North Star metric? The one metric you need to be hunting? Yeah, let me know in the chat, then I can do that. And please do it maybe in a sentence so I understand a bit of context of your business. So, Florian, what does DC stand for? Discovery calls and demos. Yeah, you will be very happy about this area down here, qualification and demos. Yeah, it's a very typical B2B acquisition thing to do. Then yearly spend per head. Ooh, that is interesting. So Manu, how do you think about this yearly spend per head? What do you mean by that? Can you maybe tell us what your business is?
Yeah, it's for one of my customers. One of my customers is a football team in the first division here in Belgium. So we both have, so we get revenue by selling merchandise in the web
Yep.
shop, by selling tickets to football games, by selling beverages and food around the stadium, and by selling online memberships to get
Yep.
specific content. So there are different sub revenue generators, if you will. These are all different funnels, and to have one overlooking metric, we were thinking of how much does one of our contacts spend in a whole season, and on average.
You want to increase the average amount spent of a typical customer. Yeah, that is a very great idea, like for an e-commerce model, but for many others as well. Very often there is only this perspective of how can I save money and customer acquisition costs, and that is only half of the truth. But every business is a balance between how do I make with my customers, either like customer value, lifetime value, or annual contract value, and then how much do I spend to keep that up? And that balance decides, do you have a scalable business or not? And so many people focus on this reducing costs part, while it's sometimes easier to just make more money with your customers. And so I like that a lot. So we have some other, I want to reach out to prospective students who are considering Hildesheim to place to study, email. So for example, for Isa, there is a good question. Should it be her goal to acquire X number of students from her initiatives per year? Or should you, which would be like the result? Or should you maybe go more like for a lead metric that comes before the final result, because it might take a long time, like just having so and so many applications, or even going before that, like doing so and so many outreaches to students, that you want to do?
I think we need the information and the reporting during the time, not in the end, because in the end it's too late to optimize something.
Yeah, and this is what's usually called like lead and lag metrics. A lag metric is somebody joining the university. That is like the last thing that happens. And a lead metric is everything that happens beforehand. For B2B businesses, very often, like what Florian said, the number of discovery calls has a high correlation to how much contract value is being generated at the end of the year. So you have to always balance lead metric for quick feedback and adjustments, and lag metrics for did it after all 3 to 6 months later, and we reevaluate things. Do people actually follow through completely, or did we just like build a pipe dream of a pipeline that never converted? So there are lots of tools like Google Analytics and Looker Studio and whatnot, in which you can create those reports, but this one is dedicated to keeping it very, very simple. Yeah, you can make it absolutely more automated and sophisticated than what I'm showing you today. But if you don't have this baseline, you're getting stuck in tool hell, and GDPR and stuff is not working. This can be done by anybody without any wild automation and analytics skills. Yeah, and just keep in mind that this is the focus. I'm not going to talk about some wild multi-touch attribution models today. So when I talked about this beautiful map, where is it? Yeah, the essential idea is go along the customer journey from the beginning to the inevitable end. This AARRR model was popularized mainly in the US investment scene, which heavily focused on software as a service tech companies, where this is the way to do it. You sign up somebody into a free trial, they convert to a paying customer, you retain them, you make money, and then you get referrals. This is not necessarily the business model you might be in, but the idea behind it is to just go by your customer journey. Yeah, and so the first step is to list the phases through which your people come through. My phases for this example that I brought today is having campaigns at the top, and we're talking about paid ad campaigns that generate leads, second phase, lead generation, that go into qualification in a sales process, that then turn into customers. We'll zoom in to everything and why I chose those KPIs. So your first step is to say, these are the important phases. It can be 3 phases, can be 5 phases, whatever makes sense for you. For example, if Florian is in a business model, Florian, do you want to tell us what you're doing? Because I'm going to keep abusing you as an example anyways.
Yeah, no problem. We're in the data analytics field, and we are a consulting agency with selling mostly data-related software solutions. So we're not a software develop company, so we're doing consulting services in the data field. Yeah.
For what kind of tools are you usually implementing for your customers?
For example, ThoughtSpot, Click. Click is a more traditional business intelligence tool. ThoughtSpot, modern one, data integration tool like Time Extender and Power BI consulting, for example. So the whole data life cycle, actually. Yeah.
So you are probably do not do a lot paid acquisition. Yeah. For that, it's a lot more discovery calling and doing that. So your campaigns are pretty much testing ICPs, ideal customer profiles, reaching out to them automatically, yeah, or personally, yeah, and that would be your campaign, which generates leads, which goes into the SDR process, yeah, and that kind of stuff. So change it up the way you need to have this done. And even from like, I'm also usually building like fancy dashboards like Florian companies does, but it's very often that the company that we are doing this stuff for is not even able to properly communicate what they would actually need and where this data is supposed to be coming from. And I hope that helps today. Yeah, that one can use this for, oh, ideally we had this, and therefore we need to build this kind of reporting structure. So let's start at the start. Yeah, the campaign level, and let's do as if all of us are doing some campaigns. So what is important in tracking campaigns? To me, I always put them together like in triplets. The first thing that can go wrong in a campaign is you spend money and not enough people are seeing your ad. So I, for example, have personally currently a problem with my Meta Ads account where I'm paying 40 to 50 euro for 1,000 impressions. I don't know why. I asked them. I don't have it with any of my customers, but my ad account, I have to pay 3 times as much as I'm used to. So I immediately see, oh, I did something wrong with my targeting. I can do something about it. And I can identify, oh yeah, I'm paying too much for the reach. So this is the first bottleneck you can identify. And that is very different on each platform. On LinkedIn, you easily pay 35 to 50 euro. On Meta Ads, usually 10 to 15 euro. And on other platforms, more or less. Yeah, so this is one KPI that I keep in mind. How many people, how much did I spend for this campaign? And how many impressions did I have? And that results in a CPM. And you can always, if you get this later, you can zoom in and you can see what this means. Average cost for 1,000 impressions. And where do you get this from? From the ads manager. Yeah, you just take this out of the ads manager, put it in your report. You can automate that or do that manually. And we're talking about that in the second phase. So what happens after people saw the ad? Now, the next thing that goes wrong is that people don't click. Yeah, that is a problem. If people don't click, they can't get to your website, they can't sign up and become leads. Big problem. Yeah, let me get rid of this one. So what we need to keep an eye on is the click-through rate. Everybody here is more in the creative space knows that the creative, what people actually see, the text and images or videos that people see, have the biggest impact on the percentage of people who actually click on your ad. If that is with like 0.2%, you're paying like 10 euro per click. Yeah, and that really doesn't help. And again, this is very different from platform to platform, but if you have several ads and one is having a 1% click-through rate and one a 0.2% click-through rate, you know that this one with the 1% click-through rate is way better. Yeah, and you can improve on that. You might have noticed that, I'll keep doing this, my triplets are organized in how many, how much does it cost, and what is the conversion rate to the step up front. Yeah, so 1% of 100,000 impressions is one click, and that keeps on happening. And if you ask yourself, like, okay, what kind of metrics should I keep in mind? One of an important step, how many? What does this step cost me if cost is relevant for you? If it's absolutely not relevant, because no, I always think it's relevant. Yeah, should always have some kind of even fictional cost attached to that. Even ESA should say my time is worth this and that, and I'm reaching out to students who want to study at my university, even if she's not paying click money. Yeah, and the click-through rate. So maybe a good example would be if Florian would be outsourcing the outreach process to the potential clients. He can do it internally, and then it's a bit hard to say, like, how much did this campaign cost me? But imagine he would outsource it to another, to a company that does outreach to customers. Then he would be spending 2,000 euro, and he would be getting so and so many leads that are being qualified and that become customer or not. Yeah, that way you can always get your cost. Okay, great. People are clicking. Yeah, this is where lots of stuff is going wrong. My main KPIs here that I'm looking at is CPM, click-through rate, and CPC. Why am I not looking at the absolute numbers? Because it just depends on the ad budget. If I spend a lot of money, I get a lot of clicks. I want to look for the quality indicators. Are we getting cheap reach with high click-through rates that lead to low CPCs, cost per clicks? But then the game continues. Yeah, we go to the next stage. People now are on my website. Yeah, let's do this for real now. They came through a click on Meta ads, Google ads to my website. They say, oh, free loot. I love me some free loot. I want to sign up for the next roundtable on November 8th. Yeah, sign up for free. They click on it, they explore, they see like, oh, great stuff. I want to join the roundtable. They join. I just see 2 call to action buttons because I'm an admin on this page. Oh, I'm in. Now this guy is a lead. Yeah, that person now gave me their contact information. That is what is supposed to be happening here. Yeah, let's restart the presentation. People click. People say like, oh, you do good stuff. Let's do some lead generation. If you're a pure sales organization, this part is not that relevant. Yeah, but I highly recommend, even if you are in a pure sales mode, to think about introducing this lead generation phase. You do not want to talk just to cold contacts. You want to have as many warm people who love what you're doing in the pipeline, so you don't waste the time of yourself and your salespeople. So now what happens? I got 1,000 clicks. Thank God. They're all now on my website. Now, what is the next step? What I want them to do? It's just customer journey. And then I go, how many people did what I want them to do, which is join like a meetup. Yeah, for example, download a lead magnet, fill out a form, subscribe to the newsletter. What does it cost? And this just relates to the 2,000 euro up here. Oh, I got 200 leads for 10 bucks from my 2,000 euro ad spend. And I see, oh, 20% are converting on my website. Great thing. So the most important KPI here is how many people do convert, because everything here is fixed. I get the number of leads. Now it's all about how many people are converting. And here, this is again very much influenced by not only the targeting, but mainly by what the hell have I been talking to them about? Have I promised them something of value? Am I making the user experience easy or hard for them? For example, you just saw that I didn't have to fulfill a form field in order to sign up to an event. Yeah, because I'm already a lead, but I'm coming back. Like Isa and Chanel and Tristan, they have been here like a dozen times. Why do I need their contact information again with a form field if they already have an account? Yeah, I try to make it as easy as possible, and I try to tell the story as convincing as possible. So, yeah, there it was. So I have my leads, I pay for them, and I have converted them. So now this is an important moment. Again, like what can I do if this is bad? Let's say this is just 5% conversion rate to get a free something. Yeah, I'm not asking for money. If I'm asking even for 20 euro, I would be happy to get a 2 or 3% conversion rate. I'm super grateful. Yeah, done, out of here. But if I'm giving something away for free and I'm not seeing at least 10% conversion rate, I maybe have attracted the wrong people or promised them something that doesn't fit, or the traffic quality is really bad. But it mostly is in the messaging and the way I try to convert people. So I can now work on that. I can improve my messaging, my targeting, my everything. Yeah, and now from 5%, where I would be landing at a 40 euro cost per lead, I can improve it, get to 20%, and I'm happy. These are, by the way, what I think are reasonable B2B lead generation numbers. Yeah, if you're selling really high ticket stuff, so if Florian pays maybe 50 euro per lead, it might be still fine. But for another service, 10 euro might be a better mark, yeah, to go for. But if Chanel would be paying, her leads are app installs, yeah, let's say, or somebody on the waiting list for the crowdfunding campaign. If she would be paying 10 bucks per person, that would be like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Yeah, she wants that in the 1 to 2 euro region. So that is all dependent on how much money are you going to make with those people afterwards and how many are you going to convert through. We will see that. Great, I got somebody who signed up for my event. Are they any good? Yeah, that is the next metric. Sales and marketing usually have beef. Sales says the leads are weak. The marketing people say, no, the sales people can't convert. They are weak. Yeah, coffees for closers and all this good stuff. So there are two responsibilities from those areas. Marketing has the responsibility to qualify the leads as good as possible, ideally with an automated way. So out of my 200 people, only 75 are having good numbers. Yeah, I can see that they are coming from companies in the right industry. They have the right job title. They maybe have enough employees for my offer to be valid. So a third of those people that I collected are only relevant, and I'm going to send them to sales. Only the ones that are qualified get sent to sales. If I send just random stuff and the salespeople are already full, in their capacity, I'm wasting their time. So it's a simple way we do this, just to make this more practical. We have a list. Let me open that in another browser before I send that over, just so I don't share any personal identifiable information. Oh, I think that should be decent. So, chip. This is just a list of everybody who signs up for pirateskills. Yeah, a longest list. And this row number E is an initial lead score. It's a scale from 0 to 100, where 69 is incredibly high. It's an IT company from Romania that I'm also working with right now. And Rodias is a big IT company in the nuclear reactor space, which I'm working with, and they also have the 91. So there seems to be something about it. But I can't say jack shit about somebody who signed up with their Hotmail. Yeah, so they get a low score. And you can see that I have some attribution. I can see where they are from, but you see that I've got some good, some bad, and some ugly people. So if I run a few numbers around that, I can see, I'm not sure I can actually show that. Yeah, I can. I can see, for example, that people from Facebook, have an average lead score of 31, Instagram 34. But people on LinkedIn that were hit up in one-on-one messages, they have 53 on average. Yeah, so I see that LinkedIn, the outreach is much more effort, but it brings me on average higher quality people. But it doesn't matter if the acquisition of good people like on Instagram and Facebook is just cheaper for me. Yeah, and I can just acquire more, and there will be a bell curve of good people, yeah, in there, and then some average and some below average people. So that is that step. Lead generation, getting leads, making sure they're good leads. Those two are essential. It's like campaigns, getting impressions, making sure those impressions are actually impressions where people click. In order for them to be relevant, they need to commit on the website, and they need to be qualified to some extent. But now we are selling, let's say we are selling a product for 2,500 euro. Usually people want to talk on the phone before they're buying something for 2,500 euro. So what a very, very modern and recommendable process is what Florian here called the DC, what was it? The direct outreach? No.
Discovery calls.
Discovery calls, yeah, which just means we're calling those 75 people from our list and asking them, hey, I saw that you signed up for this good stuff. Are you interested at the moment in buying our good stuff? Yeah, and I define it here as number of MQLs qualified by an SDR, so-called sales development representative. That is often, not always, a junior sales position in which you have the job of contacting everybody who reached a certain lead score or from a list that you got from the internet, and you call them or you write them emails or you build an automation to do this and you wait for responses. And only when the human person said, oh yeah, this is a qualified person, and they are able to buy, they are naturally not just buying our stuff, they are still comparing. So we want to make them a really good offer, but if we do, we have a good chance that they're buying. That is when an MQL turns into an SQL. Yeah, and the activity that needs to happen is discovery calls, outreach message, that good stuff. Yeah, so, and I would say you get decent qualified leads if about a third of the people that is being touched by the sales team is getting the thumbs up from the sales team. So MQL is the thumbs up from the marketing team, and SQL is the sales team gives a thumbs up. And there is this feedback loop, yeah, between the leads are weak and the closing rate is weak, yeah, and there is this point where MQL and SQL meet. And I'm always happy if the salespeople say to roughly a third of people that I send them, they were good, we can make a call with our next account executive or somebody who's doing senior sales. So now those cost me $80. Now, what happens in this? What needed to happen for this? Those leads needed to give a clear indication that they're interested and able at the moment in the product. They don't have to have it bought. They didn't get a sales presentation. They just are qualified. So they become sales qualified leads, and a third gets through. Now I'm happy if a third of those people, or in this case 40%, actually then have a successful demo. So our sales qualified leads, yeah, they get to book a demo with our so-called account executives. This is just some nomenclature from a book called Predictable Revenue. Yeah, that system has been built up and up and up and up over the last 15 years, I think. And it's the premier software sales model that I see in most successful scaling businesses that have to do sales. Yeah, so a mixture of somebody qualifying, somebody closing. In some worlds, it's called the setter and closer. In my world, it's usually called the SDR and the AE, the account executive. So 10 demos happen. So now I'm already paying €200 to do a demo. So that is the next important thing. You might be able to skip this step, this qualifying step. If people just sign up from a demo, more power to you. But often we have to become more active. Yeah, in order to get people to book a demo with us, we have to ask them and to check if they are qualified. This splitting up of SDR and AE process has one major benefit. Imagine you being a salesperson and you're getting a long as list. Let's say they're not even coming from ads. You just hunted down leads on Apollo, yeah, or the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You just said, okay, I'm gonna contact every single innovation manager with a certain company size. Yeah, let me simplify here. And you get this long as list of, let's say, 1,000 people. Yeah, that you want to hustle now. Then you start booking calls with those people, qualifying. Then you start following up. Then you start following up more. The pipeline builds. And at some point, you lose track of building up new pipeline. And because you're focused with following up with demos and creating proposals, written proposals, invoicing them, setting that kind of stuff up, and you dive a few months later into a dip because you didn't fill up the pipeline again. And then you get another list. You go to Apollo again, to Sales Navigator, and you're being in this up and down rhythm. As soon as you split those two activities, either by weekdays or by people, which is preferred in most cases, it goes way smoother. There's constant pipeline being created, and there's constant demo and accounts and such things being built. So I love this SDR AE model just for that reason alone. And if I'm the single person doing sales and closing an SDR, I'm splitting my days, yeah, for reasonableness. I keep the demo time for the most frequented appointment times in my calendar, and the bad times like Mondays, Fridays, late afternoons, I keep for the SDR stuff. Okay, great. I still didn't make any money. I now paid $200 to get a demo, but this is a very important step in my sales process. What needs to happen now? They need to sign which leads us to the last stage, yeah, which we need to track in any business. How many people did the final conversion? It very often is a customer, but it can be a recruit, it can be an investor you have won, can be all kinds of stuff. Let's assume we are talking about customers. So out of those 10 demo calls, I closed 40 deals, 40% of the deals. So for customers, they now cost me $500. Is that good? Is that bad? It depends very much on how much money I make on the deal, right? There are businesses like, for example, in the past, my mobile app businesses, we needed to have a customer acquisition cost of below 17 cents. Yeah, so for my business model to work, because our average payment per user was 17 cents. So just to break even, we needed to get below that. And of course, you don't get that done with paid acquisition or with sales processes. It's all a mixture of organic and some paid influences that leads to that. And of course, I always want to keep my customer acquisition cost as low as possible. But as we learned from the example from, what was the goal? From Manu, with a yearly spend, we can just say, oh, we just make more money per customer. Now, if I see I made 10,000 euro, then I learned, oh, my contract value must be 2,500 euro. That is good. And I want to increase that over time. And you probably wouldn't focus as much on the cost of goods sold. You don't care all the stuff is being created behind the scenes. You would change this to something like annual revenue per user, yeah, or per head. Or in a B2B context, this would be annual contract value that you focus on. But you need to make sure that you make more money than you spend. And then you usually spend money to deliver the service. You have production, shipping costs, payment providers, freelancers you have to pay to do that stuff, material costs, redundancies, whatnot, refunds. And all of those are factored into what I call cost of goods sold. Here, I even put in the sales commission in there. So the sales process is not happening by itself. Yeah, I need to pay those people doing the sales process. They need to earn some money. That is part of the cost of goods sold. And that leaves me a profit of 6,000. So what did we spend? We spent 2K. People went through. 4 people bought, made 10K, had to pay 2K in order to deliver the service. I got to keep 6K. That's a fun business. Yeah, that's one you want to stay in. Turning €1 into €3. In this case, yeah, I usually target like 300 to 400% ROI. So this is not in a fancy dashboard, but starting with this idea of I want to be able to clearly communicate with my whole team, with service providers that I'm using, with myself. These are the most important numbers. You start listing the 4 phases, and then maybe 3 to 6 very concrete numbers in which you want to keep an eye, that you want to keep an eye on. Yeah, one of them is your North Star metric. Yeah, and in this case, for example, I would say cost per demo would be the most. I know everything else is taken care of. As long as the demos are happening at a reasonable acquisition price, all is good. Because getting to a demo requires a qualified person that was pre-qualified. I'm sure that is happening. As long as that is happening, I can close 40% of deals. Yeah, so I can focus on this lead metric because it might take 3 to 6 months in order to close the deal. Maybe can you guys write me in the chat, how long does it take from we had the first serious talk to people do the final conversion, becoming a student, becoming a customer, becoming an investor, whatever you're hunting? How many days, weeks, months happen? So with Sheila, with Deep Skill, for sure, 3 to 6 months. I'm the same, 3 to 6 months. Christian, what the hell is going on? Why 6 to 18 months? Tell us. If he's available.
Do you want us to talk on mute, Ben? Or
yeah, please. Why does it take 6 to 18 months?
It's just B2B sales. It's the confidence building, mostly because it's awareness. People don't necessarily have the need at the same time. So this is where we count it from, like from building the relationship as much as from converting a sale. So there's a different metric for when we get to a proposal stage to converting that.
Okay, good. So this is the whole enchilada. Yeah, from proposal, it's maybe a bit less. Yeah, but we see very often it doesn't come faster than 3 months. Yeah, for hardly anybody, in reality is closer to 6 months than 3 months. And this can, for example, be one of your metrics on this dashboard. I just chose the one that made most sense in a prototypical case. But time to revenue, or to a certain amount of revenue per customer is very, very interesting. I'm sure Manu wouldn't care about like waiting for the annual money spent if he could cut that time in half and have that money in June already. That would be enabling a lot more freed up cash in the business, because the shorter the cycle is, the longer, the faster you get your money back. Yeah, I call that the cashback cycle time. How long does it take from spending those 2K to earning those 10K? Yeah, very interesting metric, not easy to track, and therefore it did not end up in my essential marketing dashboard. A lot of CRM tools do this for you, like HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, they do this for you, or Pipedrive, but it's not that easy to track. And then it's not that easy to do something about it. Yeah, once you know, oh shit, my contract, it takes way too long. So there are 2 ways to do this dashboard. You can either do this like on a monthly basis, weekly basis, or you can do it cohort-based. Monthly and weekly, you would just put in those numbers as they are, but they are heavily affected by what you did in the past. If you had a lot of demos last week and then you made closes this week, this is actually earned by the last week and not by this week. This is totally fine if you have a fluid business and if you want to keep it simple. Yeah. And it's a good starting point to do it just time-based. I'm a weekly guy. I have 13-week sprints, that is 1 quarter. I do 13-week sprints, 12 weeks of work, 1 week of reflection. Yeah. And then I keep on track with my numbers on a weekly basis. If you are slower or faster, needing to do it daily or monthly, be my guest, no problem. But I want to show you a simple way to do this cohort-based without much complications. Yeah, and you don't want to have your metrics in Miro. Miro is just to have this idealized dashboard that you actually know which metrics you want to track and where they are coming from. All right. Any questions to this before we move into the phase where we look into how do we actually put that into a table on a weekly basis and then prettify that table? Any questions so far? Just feel free, unmute, and let's talk about it. So I put it down here. Maybe I already share the Miro board with you guys. It's in the chat. And if you click, for example, here on this link, then it leads you to this Google Sheet. And this Google Sheet is set up to be cohort-based. Yeah, where you say, I'm running a certain campaign over a certain time, but you can run 3 campaigns at the same time. You can run them sequentially. You can do whatever you like. Yeah, you can use this for time-based tracking. You can use this for cohort-based tracking. I like it to be cohort-based because I want to know what happens with these 1,000 euros. I'm absolutely stupidly overemphasizing that I want to know what happens with this exact 1,000 euro, not any 1,000 euro in that time frame that I spent here. Spent 11,000. I care what happened with this 1,000 or these 3,000. So, and you're able to do this if you just do one line. These are the same metrics that you just saw, yeah, from the Miro board, just in a table, and I calculate the metrics that that I need here. This board is this. If you want to create a copy, if you write at the end of a Google Doc the word copy, then it opens it and it asks you to create a copy so you can mess with it yourself. And you're not messing with my sheet here right now. So let's assume the last 5 weeks I spent increasing amount of money. First 1,000 until it works, and then 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Yeah, always over 1 week. Now, what do? I just list out along the customer journey so I can see what happens. For 1,000 euro, I need to put this literally from the ads manager in here. Yes, there are automation tools. Do them if you like, but do not have my tool is not working as an excuse not to track the stuff. This takes maybe half an hour per week at the fucking most. Yeah, so there is no excuse for that. I spent 1,000, got 65,000, and that clicks. Oh, I need to put in these 3 numbers manually. The dark columns are for manual input, and the other stuff is being calculated. And I can already see 0.69 click-through rate. If I compare them to the other campaigns that I run, this is the worst one. It was my first week. It sucked. Yeah, but great. I got 45 leads. Thank God, because the goal of ad spend is leads. Okay, the goal of leads is to get sales qualified leads. Yeah, so I qualified them. I got my MQLs. I got 5 people that my salespeople liked to talk to. And they set up demos. 2 demos happened, and bummer, 0 customers. Fuck. First week, first cohort, welcome to reality. Yeah, so I spent 1,000 euro. I had 0 customers, therefore also had 0 revenue and 0 cost of goods sold. And so I lost all of my money. Negative 100 ROI. Yeah, but you see that this stuff improves from campaign to campaign. Every week it gets a bit better. Yeah, and we can now compare this data a little bit more. If we, for example, look at the CPMs, this is average. Ooh, this is way too high. What happened here? We can optimize our targeting probably to decrease the CPM. This looks normal. This looks normal. Okay. Click-through rates. They are improving over time. So my messaging and targeting is developing in the right direction. Great. What about conversion rate of leads? From 10 to 11 to 16, 1 step back to 17. Okay, here we are in decent land. Cost per lead under my goal of 10 euro. Great. But you see that I needed a couple of iterations to get there. And after the lead stage and MQL stage usually happens in real time. They sign up, they land in the Google Sheet. I get immediate information, who it is, what the lead score is. That happens instantly. But after that, I need to take extra time to fill out the cohort. For example, if now those 16 people are being called, 5 of them are being promising and we book 2 demos, those happen maybe a week or 2 or 3 afterwards. And I need to get back and fill those numbers in. Yeah, just how many SQLs happened. And the tool that helps you to get that done is a CRM. You see how many people move through the pipeline and who have this campaign as a tag. Yeah. And we see how that percentage of people that we qualify is getting better. Our demo conversion rate stays fairly the same, but our profit from campaign to campaign significantly increases. Yeah, here there are very small steps from 0 to 1. Yeah, that is the difference between losing all of your money and doubling your money. Yeah, and then here we had 2 sales, but we also spent a lot of money, and therefore we still just doubled our money. And then stuff is getting more consistent, and we are making proper return of investments. So, and you can use this table just to keep either track of your weeks, or as I prefer it, keep track of your campaigns. I tend to attach dates to my campaigns anyways, but I'm not that interested in the dates as the total performance of the campaign. Yeah. I hope this Google Doc will be helpful for you guys. If you have an upgraded version of that, I know Arman has a great version of this. Feel free to share them, yeah, with us and the community. Is any one of you having something like this in place already? Then maybe you can share a screenshot at some point in the community. So, and you might be a bit like me and saying like, oh, this is fucking ugly. This has nice colors, but I want fancy graphs. Yeah, I want the data studio, what were you using, Florian? Clip. I love that tool.
The fancy one is ThoughtSpot, actually. So
which one?
ThoughtSpot.
Can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, can put it in the chat. There's also nice integration to marketing tools.
ThoughtSpot. Let's check it out.
It's not so known in the German market right now.
AI-powered analytics. What would you say is a good customer for this? What size of company?
Size, actually starting from 100 employees, I think, and mostly the ICP is mostly are companies who have a small data team and not so a lot of people who are overworked actually, like, and who want to automate some stuff with the tool. And
so you can use any tool you like to do additional data analytics. This thing is set up in a way that it's database friendly. Yeah, and that usually means every column represents one variable, and every time that variable needs to be tracked, that's one line. Yeah? And if you set your setup this way, you can very easily put it into something like Data Studio, yeah, or Looker Studio as it's called now. And let me just show you what this turns into if you do it this way. Let's zoom in, and this is still the same data. It's just hooked up to the Google Sheet. I did no fancy calculations, just simple widgets with so-called spark lines. Yeah, where I can see, oh yeah, the CPM is going up, down, up, but it's pretty steady. But impressions are going up. And I just sorted them a little bit. And I see the clicks, and I can say like, oh, I just want to see those clicks for my best campaign for version number 5. Yeah, let's give it some time to load, and then I will see the data just from number 5, or I see the combination of 3, 4, and 5, and this is being summed up. Then I don't see any spark lines if I just chose a single data point naturally or a single campaign. But as soon as I chose multiple ones, I can see that. This is nice to put on your wall on a TV, but it's not better than what you have with your table. Where this helps is if you do a bit more of a breakdown. That is on page 2. If you get the copy of the Looker Studio dashboard, I find it, for example, helpful to see breakdowns, just the comparison by the numbers, by the costs, and by the conversion rates from step to step. This, for example, the step-to-step conversion rate shows me very easily every step of the customer journey, from lead gen to MQL to SQL to demo to customer, and I can quickly identify my biggest bottleneck. Yeah, for example, I would say in this case, maybe I can work on the website so that the percentage of leads are converting better. It's currently at an average of 13.9. What if I could get that up to 25? Yeah, and I would keep my results consistent. At the end, that would cut my customer acquisition costs in half. Yay, more profit or impact or recruits that I want. And those visualizations here on the right-hand side, instead of just showing a number, showing like a bar chart, always is easier for the human mind to grab onto. Or you can take, this is still just the numbers from the dashboard that we just looked at, and you can see some development of ad spend, cost of goods sold, revenue, and profit over time. You can see how that green line goes from negative 1,000 to here, to here, to here. I know the same data is in the table, but it doesn't speak to me as much as in here. And what we don't have, so what we have to remember with analytics, it's not to track cool numbers, but to give yourself and the teams you're working with and your stakeholders the assurances that what you are doing is good. Yeah, and if you have customers and you want them to spend more money, as soon as you can very clearly prove that campaign 3, 4, 5 was profitable, guess what? They're not going to waste money by saying, okay, stick to the budget we discussed. They're going to say, shut up, Ben, how much money can you spend? How fast? Yeah, that is where you want to go. And you can do that for yourself and ask pros like Florian to help you with that, of course, or build it for yourself. It's no big magic. And in the workshop, data analytics is the next workshop, right? Yeah, we can dive into that if you like. And if you have been here before, you know that you are allowed to join the next workshop for free. Yeah. So this is essentially, let's not forget, it's just a prettification of this. And this is just a table about this. And I tell you, even if you just have 5 metrics that you're tracking, that is better than not, as long as nothing. Yeah. Find your essential marketing dashboard. I think this is a good start, even if you were to take half of those metrics and track them manually and consistently. That would be a huge help. Maybe some pointers here. You see, for example, that I never at this point look at how many people visited my website. I stopped doing that after GDPR. I know how many people clicked for my ads, and then I know how many people converted. But the number of people on my website, that is a semi-unknown. Of course, I can set up my analytics tool in a way, like I have that set up actually, like Matomo, that tracks even independent of consent because it's cookieless. But I don't trust it anymore. But I trust this, and I trust this number. This comes from the ads manager. This comes from my email tool. Those are true. I can look in a table and count those people, yeah, if I wanted to. I cannot do that with my landing page views anymore. So find practical sources, and I tend to link them. Yeah, I put a literal link. I didn't do that in this demo because then you would be having so many invaluable links. Not invaluable, but irrelevant links. And you just link to the place where you want the person who's doing the tracking for you, or you do it for your own sanity, so they just are a click away from that number. Yeah. Of course, ideally, at some point you automate a lot of this stuff, but you don't have to, yeah, spend the half hour per week to do that. If you work with me in any capacity, you know that I'm pretty much forcing you to do this, yeah. Because it's so like I did it for even with big companies like AXA Insurance. We did it for 3 years manually, and they are like a huge corporate. But big companies always have big problems getting to real data. Yeah, so everything takes a long time, but we had 2 or 3 years of heavy improvement with one campaign after another improving this. And this doesn't have to be ad-based. This can be just as well done with ICPs, with organic traffic, with outreach strategies, whatnot. Yeah, if you have a question about like, okay, can I apply this to this or that, then feel free to ask. All right, so we got the good stuff. We got the metrics dashboard. Let me go on the left-hand side. That is more familiar to me. Yeah. So how do you get this stuff? Yeah, I want to introduce you to something new and fun, which is called the Sailor Circle community. That is a place where we can chat